All right, so we are going to go over IGETC, which is the Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. And if you were to go and see a counselor, the IGETC is option C and is printed on pink paper. So you can use the IGETC to transfer to a UC or a CSU, and you can also use the IGETC to obtain an associate's degree from SRJC. There are also quite a few out-of-state campuses as well as California independent colleges that will allow the IGETC to be used in order to meet their general education requirements. So that's always a good question to ask if you are meeting with an out-of-state campus or a California independent, is if they would uh, allow you to complete IGETC and have your general education done. So the IGETC is not all that different from the option B CSU general education, but remember all the courses on here are only going to be numbered between 1 and 47. So where there may have been a course on the CSU General Ed that was accepted because it was or it is numbered higher than 47, you're not going to see that here on the IGETC. All right, so Area 1 is the English Communication section, and English 1A is, Section 1A is English Composition, and that is English 1A. That's the option that you have there. You could also use an AP course in here to meet that requirement, or maybe you've completed the course elsewhere. Area 1B is your critical thinking. So in this section, you could do Communications 9. Remember, that is the old speech, English 5, or Philosophy 5. If you are using the IGETC and you will be applying to both a CSU or a UC, or I should say, and a UC, you will need the Communications 1, or what used to be Speech 1A. So in order to transfer to a California State University, you have to have that speech requirement met. And at SRJC, as of fall 18, that is Communications 1. So if you take Communications 60, then you would need to go back and use the CSU GE sheet when you are being certified for general ed if you were to go to a CSU. And then you would need to have IGETC done if you are also applying to a UC. So it gets a little bit more complicated, but we can help you through that. Area 2 is the math. So same thing, math is determined by your major. So depending on your major will depend on what math you are taking, or if you are in a major that doesn't have a particular math requirement, then again, you can take whatever math is of most interest to you, okay? Area 3 is the arts and the humanities. Again, very similar. You need one class from Area 3A, one class from Area 3B, and then that third class can come from either 3A or 3B. So it's your choice, okay? So one arts, one humanities, and the third can come from either area. Area 4 is the social and behavioral sciences area, and this requires 9 units. So here you need to complete 3 courses from at least 2 disciplines. So what that means is you are not going to take 3 courses in psych and have that meet Area 4. So you could have Psych 1A and Psych 3, and then you need to have that third class from another area. Area 5 is your physical and biological sciences. Again, very similar to the CSU GE. You need 1 physical science, 1 biological science, and one of those needs to have a lab. It's the same thing. You have some courses where you register for the lab separately, and some courses where the lab is embedded into the class when you go to register. And so you just need to research that out a little bit or ask a counselor for some help if you need help with that. Area 6A is what we call LOTE, or language other than English, and this is required for UC certification only, okay? So there's a couple different ways that you can meet this requirement. One, you can take a class at SRJC in a foreign language. Maybe you've completed 2 years of high school coursework in one language other than English with a final term grade of a C- or better. And that transcript needs to be on file at SRJC in Admissions and Records. If you took an AP exam, then that could work if you got a score of 3 or higher. If you took the SAT-2 subject test in a language other than English, that could work. An IB score could work. And if you've done 2 years of formal schooling at the 6th grade level or higher with grades of C or better, where the language of instruction was not English at that school, then we can use that as well. So this comes into play a lot for our international students who are here that studied, of course, the 6th grade or higher in their own home language. And so we can use a transcript is the easiest way to do that. And if you don't have a transcript, then you can come into the transfer center, or you can, let's just go on the site right now. You can go to the transfer center page, and under resources, we have a link for LOTE so that you can fill out a form if you need assistance. So right here under resources, language other than English. So we have some information there. So if that is you, you've taken coursework at the 6th grade level or higher where the language of instruction was not English, you can read through this to figure out how to get certified for your language. And then we are also listing the CSU graduation requirements in history and government. So again, those U.S. history classes and political science 1 for the CSU, if you take those classes, they're going to double count up in area 4. Okay, so you can see that there. Okay. These plus signs, a little bit different than what it was on the CSU GE sheet. So this means that the UC has a limitation on that. So, for example, let me try to think of a good one. Okay, Psych 4 has a plus sign. What that means is if you take Psych 4 and you take Child Development 10, the UC has said those 2 courses have similar content and students would only get credit for 1. So instead of 6 units, students would only get 3 units towards transfer. So there's, quite a few of those plus signs. And so you want to, if you see that you're taking a class with a plus sign, you want to know what that rule is. So you can come into counseling, or you could do a little bit of research on your own on Assist. And looks like Kate has a link here for the UC limitations. And it looks like it's going back to her page. So you could see here. So if we go to that Psych 4 and Child Development 10 combined, maximum credit 1 course. Okay. So you could do that, research yourself, and then come in and ask a counselor if you have questions. The back side of the IGETC, make this a little bit bigger here, has some notes. And let's see. So completion of the IGETC is not a requirement for a transfer to the CSU or UC. However, there are several majors at Berkeley that do require the completion of IGETC. The College of Business at UC Riverside also requires the completion of IGETC. So there are some rules to that, and you would want to make sure that you really know what those rules are. So just be careful with that. You can do partial certification. So that's down here. So if you complete all but 2 courses on the IGETC pattern, you can get partial certification, which is better than nothing. So that is one thing to pay attention to. And oh, here's the note right here. IGETC is acceptable for all majors in the College of Letters and Sciences. So that's a requirement for getting into Berkeley and the College of Letters and Sciences, is that you have IGETC completed. Okay. A lot of these notes are around the colleges of the College of Engineering at the various campuses. All right, so that's the overview of IGETC, and if you have any questions, let me know.